Alright, good morning, Fresh Goes 40K fans. It's a dreary Sunday morning here in Michigan. If you ask me, it's the perfect time to break out your hobby tools and paints, put some football on in the background, and get to work. This is just a quick shot at my hobby station. It's a mess, awful cluttered with multiple projects. I'm never working on any one thing at a time, which is thanks to my undiagnosed ADHD. You can see I've got some Def Coptas in the back. I've got my prominently my biker boys I'm working on right now for our slow grow league that we're going to be starting in January. I got 3 of them finished. The rest, those are my test models. The rest are still in assembly stages. I got a massive pile of sprues. One whole squad is finished and ready to go. Just needs some paint. I got some Signar Stormguard and some Lizardmen Temple Guard in the back as well that are kind of all in various stages. And that doesn't even count my kind of side tray that I have where I've got like a Gazgull, Commissar Yarrick, Epic Thagrosh, a whole bunch of stuff in there that's in various stages of primer and paint. I've got a Librarian and a Space Marine, the Captain from the Dark Vengeance box set also. But the reason I'm going to make this video is actually 2 parts. First, I get a lot of compliments on my painting, which I don't quite understand. I think I'm a very lazy painter, and I appreciate the compliments, but I always think that if I could spend more time, it would be much better. But I think that that's pretty much true of any painter. The more time you spend doing it, the better you get. But I just want to show off how my quick and dirty style works. It gets nice tabletop stuff out fast. It's very assembly line, and it looks really nice. And there's a couple things that I think really help that, and I'll go into those later in the clip. But the other reason I'm making this video is because we have a club member who has a very ambitious project set aside for himself for 2013. He is building and painting an entire 2,000 point Pre Heresy Imperial Fist army. He has purchased everything from Forge World already and has got most of it assembled, but then he hits a roadblock. He doesn't consider himself a very good painter. He frequently says he doesn't have the time to do it or the skill. And I'm part of the reason I'm making this video is to show him that you don't need a whole lot of time. You can do it in chunks, and don't need a whole lot of skill. You just need to know a couple quick and easy things, and hopefully this is going to inspire him. Fortunately, there isn't a whole lot of color difference between Pre Heresy Imperial Fists and my Iyanden Eldar, so I have a lot of experience working with yellow as a base. Out of all the compliments I get, I think my Eldar tend to get the most. So we're gonna use a couple test models. I actually have 2 Black Reach Space Marines here. I've already primered in Army Painter Demonic Yellow. And I always recommend buying a set of cheap Marines and painting them up as tests before you start anything, especially if you have a very expensive Forge World army, because stripping plastic is never a great thing. It doesn't strip as easily as metal, and especially some solvents like I like to use Simple Green for my metal. But Simple Green, if you leave the plastic in too long, can make the plastic soft, so it makes stripping it very difficult. Resin, I haven't even tried, and I don't want to. I would rather I test and make my mistakes on a $10 tactical squad from Black Reach than my ridiculously expensive Cataphracti Terminators. So what I've done, just simply, I have just spray base coated, spray primered these tactical Marines with like I said, Army Painter Demonic Yellow, and I love the Army Painter colored primers. If I'm not going with black or white as a base coat, or actually my orcs are going to be gray. I love to use their colored primer. You have to be a little careful with it. It can go on a bit thick. You got to use kind of a light touch. Do it in layers and stages. Let it dry. Then turn the model over. Make sure you hit all the cracks, and just be cautious with it because it can clump up, especially if it's a little moist outside or wherever you're doing your priming. It can get a little clumpy. So anyway, I have these 2 primed. And I'm going to show you what I think is kind of the most important thing about the way I paint. I think it's color choice. To go along with my the Demonic Yellow base, we're going to go, like I said, with Pre Heresy Imperial Fist colors. So we need that red for the helmet and some of the accent colors, as well as a little bit of white. We're going to use some green for the the eyes, bolt gun metal for the bolter, and then some tan for so the old snakebite leather. I can't remember what the new color is called, but that's going to be just for the straps and holsters and things like that. And I think picking the right colors is very important. You want colors that are going to contrast nicely but not be clashing. GW's pretty good at when they come out with a codex look to already kind of set that up for you, and really all you have to do is select the paints. I'm using primarily these 3 foundation paints because I really like foundation paints. They go on smooth, they cover really well, they thin out really well, and they're just very easy to use, especially for base coats over any color. And of course the last part is the secret Citadel Shades. I'm going to use Agrect Earth Shade for this. Is what I use for all my Eldar, and I really like the way that ends up looking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and I'm going to paint just different sections of it. And I have 2 models here because I want to show off the assembly line look, the assembly line method. Because I think if you can paint 1 model in an hour, you can paint 10 models in 2 hours. It's not significantly more time to do more models if you're doing it the same way. So we'll see in the next clip what some of these guys look like with some of the colors blocked on them. Alright, here we are with the Imperial Fists after we've done some of the major color points. Again, the biggest trick that I learned over the last couple years of painting, always thin your stuff out, especially the foundation paints. It's much easier to go over a spot with a couple thin layers. Foundation paints dry very quickly, so shouldn't be much of a hassle. Go over with a couple thin layers first, and come back and just build it. It's much easier to control what you get. And to help me with that, I actually have just I took this from my my son after he was done using this. It's just an infant medicine dispenser. It's perfect for just putting little droplets of water in your palette. If you use a wet palette, that's something else that's great. I'm going to start experimenting with that soon, I think. But until then, this is perfect. Oh, and just another point, quality brushes, guys. Use quality brushes. I have cheap brushes I use for washes, dry brushes, and things like that. But I like the Army Painter brushes myself. They're nice and comfortable. They hold their shape really well. They hold paint really well. Anyway, off to the soapbox. Back to the models. We've got everything base coated, and something else that I highly recommend if you're going to use the Army Painter color primers. Pick up the color matched drop paint to go with it. If I had this before I started my Iyanden stuff, a lot of things would have been very easy, but they didn't come out with the primer color match tubes until after I had already done about half of my stuff. So anyway, now it's great for going over the touch-ups, and you can see I have a few little spots I have to go over with the yellow. It is kind of thin, and you do have to definitely use it in layers, but it works very well. Once it dries, it's a very, very close match. Anyway, next step, once we've got these the models based, completely base coated, is we're gonna do some washing. And again, that's kind of the secret to my success, is just that heavy GW wash application. You slap it on pretty thick and then smooth it out, and then let it dry, and the results are pretty decent if you ask me. Oh, I didn't notice a couple things. I forgot to paint purity seals and things like that. I did not paint the Aquila because they don't have the Aquila in Pre Heresy, and again, this is meant to be a test for a Pre Heresy model. Alright, so we're going to put on a wash and see what they look like afterward. Alright, here we are after the wash stage. You can see the wash does nicely to fill in all the cracks and bring out some of those details. Adds a nice aged, weathered look to powered armor as well. I think it really it brings out the best in the detail in the powered armor. I think GW really knows what they're doing with their wash series. I'm a huge fan of it. You can see we still have like green spots in the eyes. We've got some other color, the grenades. Just those tiny little accent colors really make a huge difference on a model like this. And again, I want to point out the bolter casings. Painting those, Geneguard pointed that out to me when I was doing my Star Phantoms, and it made me rethink the whole thing. So I'm probably going to go back and repaint the bolter casings on my Star Phantoms, thanks to him. And that's one of the cool things about having a club of guys that get together regularly. We all trade ideas back and forth. And there's no question that Geneguard and Phil are probably two of the best painters in our club, but we're always constantly giving each other ideas. Like Tau Forever was experimenting with weathering powders and pigments, and he is getting some of the other guys into that. Muggins and I are kind of known as the wash dip masters. Muggins has his Tyranid Horde almost completely dipped, and I use I'm pretty heavy on the GW washes, so those are kind of our things. And Phil is a really like heavy metal class type painter, really by the book GW styles, and it shows. I mean, that's the way they do it, and this is the way I tend to do it. But like I said, my method is designed to get something quick and on the table, and it looks good. I mean, it's perfectly playable. I'm proud of the fact that everything I play is painted, so I just kind of stick it at that. But, you know, from here you can do an awful lot with it. You can add some highlights with a brighter yellow color or a white on the edges if you want. Dry brush some gray over the black or a brighter red over the helmet. You can do an awful lot. The only other thing I'm going to do these guys is base it, because my basing technique is also really simple, but it looks really sharp, and we're going to get onto that in a sec. All I do is I take some GW tan color paint. We're going to use the snakebite leather again because that's what I happen to have. Whatever the current color name is, I don't know. We're just going to paint the whole base that color. Make sure the edge is really solid that color. We don't want any bleed through from whatever our primer coat is. And then I'm just going to use straight up Elmer's glue, brushed on, and dip it in some sand and gravel mix. It's just playbox or sandbox sand I took from my son's sandbox out in the backyard, along with some hobby gravel. Just a nice little mix. Let it dry, and then glue some static grass on there, and we call it a day. Alright, so let's take a look and see what that looks like. Alright, here we are after basing the models. Again, we just used some Elmer's glue and some modeling sand or hobby sand and some static grass, also just Elmer's glued on there. And these are pretty much ready to play with, ready for the tabletop. Like I said, you can also do some dry brushing on the helmets to bring out some of the reds, or some gray on the bolters and the black shoulder pads to do some highlighting. You can also do some white or brighter yellow on the yellow too. Decals, of course, would be really sweet. But yeah, this is it. I mean, this is something I'd be happy to put on a table. I'd love to see across the table from me. And yeah, that's about it. So, you know, again, I hope that this kind of really inspires some of the more I guess struggling painters, guys who just don't think they can do it. And yeah, this is a very simple thing. Anybody can do a process just like this to make something that's a pretty decent tabletop quality model. So we're looking forward to seeing Larry's Pre Heresy Imperial Fists sometime this year, and hopefully I can get some of the other guys like maybe Geneguard or Phil to go through how they do their painting processes, because again, they're much more sophisticated, much more, higher quality than the stuff I do. But you know what? I'm happy with it, and I'm proud of it at the end of the day. So, all right, hopefully we'll have another bat rep coming up soon. We got the league started starting in a couple weeks. Christmas. We have a tournament next weekend, actually. Battle for the Crossroads at Gamer Sanctuary. So if you're in the anywhere near Flint, you want to play some 40K on the 22nd, bring a $10 donation or a brand new board game or a piece of sporting goods, basketballs, football, stuff like that. Donate it to Crossroads for Youth in Oxford, and we're going to try to make Christmas a little bit better for some of those the boys and girls who are living there. All right, check you later.